Privacy is the ultimate flex that nobody wants to talk about.
I started out feeling like I wanted to be private. I'd run a private partnership, and I just enjoyed it that way.
Meet the Cargill McMillan family, heirs to the largest privately held company in the United States, influencing the lives of billions without ever making front-page news. They built a $146 billion business, but never gave interviews. They control M&M's, Snickers, and hundreds of other brands, you know. Yet you've probably never seen their faces. Meet the Mars family, the billionaires who chose privacy over fame.
The smartest rich people hide their assets behind trusts and normal clothes so nobody even knows they have money.
Have you changed your lifestyle? You don't look like you're buying really expensive clothes.
No, I'm not buying really expensive clothes.
The mechanics of keeping Mars private required more than just refusing to issue public stock. It demanded the creation of elaborate structures, holding companies, trusts, and private partnerships that functioned as a moat around the family's control.
From 1996 to 2011, Steve Jobs wore his turtleneck, jeans, and New Balance sneakers at every single Apple event.
If you let everyone know exactly how much you make, you become a target for scams, fake friends, and endless requests for your cash.
It's easy when you don't have anything and people ask you for money. It's harder when your multi-million-dollar salary is now in the paper and you get a lot of friends and cousins you didn't have before. It was very difficult for me to figure out where my boundaries were.
You gotta have boundaries.
Even if you're my closest friend, I have boundaries.
Ingvar Kamprad built IKEA from the ground up and became one of the wealthiest people in the world. He was worth over $50 billion, but he flew in economy class on every single flight. He drove an old Volvo for 20 years. He even bought his clothes at flea markets. He didn't care about designer labels or private jets. He knew that spending money just to show people you have money is a massive mistake. He stayed completely invisible as a billionaire. That stealth strategy kept him grounded and kept everyone's hands out of his pockets. Now you might be thinking, if I have to drive an old car and buy cheap clothes, what's the point of making millions of dollars? But stealth wealth isn't about punishing yourself. It's about choosing freedom over attention. You can still buy the house, you can take the vacations, you can eat at the restaurants that you want to eat at. You just do it without broadcasting it to the world. You buy back your time and peace of mind instead of buying status symbols to impress people who don't even care about you. So, how do you actually build massive wealth in secret while still enjoying your life? Here are the exact moves you need to make right now. If you've been here before, drop a hashtag Believe in the comments below so I can feature you here in a future video. And if you're new, welcome to Believe Nation, the only channel that helps you believe in yourself daily, one video at a time. Hide your assets behind LLCs and trusts. When you start making real money, people get incredibly curious about your life. They want to know exactly what you own, where you live, and how much cash is sitting in your bank account right now. And if your name is on the deed to your house or the title of your car, anyone can look you up in public records. It takes exactly 5 minutes for a complete stranger with a Wi-Fi connection to find out exactly what you are worth. This is incredibly dangerous. It invites lawsuits, jealous neighbors, and people looking for an easy payday. If you want to build wealth without anyone knowing, you must hide your assets behind LLCs and trust. Now, an LLC is a limited liability company. When you buy property through an LLC, the name of the company goes on the public record instead of your personal name. This creates a powerful legal shield around you. But you can go even further by using a trust. A trust is a legal arrangement where a third party holds your assets for you. When you combine a land trust with an LLC, you get maximum privacy and maximum protection. This is what the smartest rich people do. They never own anything directly. They control everything, but on paper, they own absolutely nothing. This is how you protect your peace of mind. You cannot build momentum in your business if you're constantly looking over your shoulder. You have to secure your foundation so you can focus 100% of your energy on serving your clients and growing your impact. The greatest gift you can give yourself is a safe environment. When nobody knows what you own, nobody can try to take it away from you. You get to wake up every single day and do work that matters without dealing with the drama of public success. People who show up their homes and cars are constantly stressed about losing them. They tie their entire identity to these physical objects. But when you hide your assets, you separate your ego from your wealth. You realize that your true value comes from your daily actions and your character. So start researching how you can set up an LLC in your state today. Talk to a legal professional about creating a trust for your big investments. It might seem like a lot of paperwork at first, but this one move will save you millions of dollars and endless headaches over the next 10 years. It gives you the silent foundation that you need to keep growing. But hiding your big assets is only the first step. You also need to protect your daily personal information from companies that are trying to sell you out. Scrub your personal data from the internet. You might not realize it, but there are massive companies whose entire business model is selling your personal information. These companies are called data brokers. They collect your phone number, your home address, your past addresses, your family members, and even your estimated net worth. Then they package all this data and they sell it to anyone willing to pay a few dollars. This means that even if you never post about your money on social media, your financial success is still being broadcasted to the world without your permission. If you want to practice stealth wealth, you must scrub your personal data from the internet immediately. Now, you can do this manually by going to every single data broker website and submitting an opt-out request, but there are hundreds of these sites and they constantly repopulate your information every few months. A much smarter move is to use services like Delete Me, not connected to the channel. These services automatically scan the internet for your personal information and force the data brokers to remove it. They keep monitoring the web all year long to make sure that your data stays hidden forever. But why is it so important? Because your environment dictates your success. If your information is public, you invite total chaos into your life. You will start getting calls from long lost friends asking for a massive loan. You will get targeted by sophisticated scams that know exactly how much money that you have. You will waste your precious mental energy dealing with distractions instead of building your empire. Successful entrepreneurs learn to aggressively protect their focus. You cannot achieve massive goals if you are constantly swatting away people who want a piece of your success. By removing your data from the internet, you take back control of your life. You get to decide who knows you and who gets access to your energy. When you operate in complete silence, you have the freedom to make bold moves without anyone judging your process. You stop worrying about what the public thinks because the public does not even know you exist. This level of privacy gives you a massive advantage over competitors who are constantly managing their public image. So you can take action today. You can start removing your footprint from these data broker sites. Your future self will thank you for keeping your life private. And once you get your data off those websites, you have to make sure that your daily spending habits do not give away your secrets. Here is exactly how to hide your money trail. Use virtual cards for ultimate privacy. Every time you swipe your personal credit card, you leave a highly detailed digital footprint. Retailers track exactly what you buy, how much you spend, and where you shop. They use this data to build a massive profile on your spending habits. If you are spending large amounts of money, you immediately get flagged as a high net worth individual in their system. You start getting targeted ads for luxury goods, expensive cars, high-end real estate. This makes it incredibly hard to live quietly. So to fix this massive security leak, you need to start using virtual cards for your purchases. A virtual card is a temporary digital credit card number that connects directly to your real bank account. So services like privacy.com, again, not connected to the channel, allow you to generate a brand new card number for every single online purchase. You can even use a fake name and a fake billing address when you check out. The merchant gets paid, but they never see your real financial information. They cannot build a profile on you and they cannot track your growing wealth. Virtual cards also protect you from fraud and hidden subscription fees. You can set a strict spending limit on each virtual card. You can lock a card to a single merchant. And if that merchant gets hacked, the thieves cannot use your card anywhere else. This level of control is absolutely crucial for any serious entrepreneur. Money is an amazing tool. It absolutely needs to be in your top 5 priorities so you can fund your mission and hire a great team to help you scale. But money cannot be your number one priority, and it definitely should not be something that you leave exposed to hackers and greedy corporations. You must fiercely protect your cash flow. When you use virtual cards, you keep your financial identity completely invisible from the world. You buy back your privacy with every single transaction that you make. It allows you to spend your money exactly how you want without becoming a target for aggressive marketing campaigns. So you can set up a virtual card account this week. You can start rolling all your online spending through it. It takes 5 minutes to set up, but it gives you a lifetime of security. Now that your identity and spending are completely locked down, it's time to talk about how you actually multiply your money without anyone noticing. Master the 75-15-10 rule for quiet growth. To build serious wealth, you need a powerful system that forces you to live below your means. This brings us to the 75-15-10 plan. This is a very specific formula that guarantees you will grow your net worth without looking like you are trying to be rich. Here's exactly how it works. You live entirely on 75% of your income. You consistently invest 15% of your income, and you save or give away the remaining 10%. Financial experts say you need about $1.8 million to retire comfortably. If you're spending 100% of what you make on designer clothes and expensive cars just to look successful, you will never hit that massive $1.8 million mark. People who consistently show off their money are usually the ones who are the most broke behind closed doors. They are terrified of looking poor, so they spend absolutely everything they have. But the 75-15-10 plan keeps you completely grounded. Also, if you want to take real action after this video, I made a free worksheet just for you. It covers the top lessons from today, gives you space to write your biggest takeaways, and helps you build a simple action plan. It's 100% free. Just check the link in the description, go grab it. I'll see you there. When you automate that 15% into investments, your money starts to compound quietly in the background. Your neighbors will see you driving a normal car and living a totally normal life. They will assume you're just getting by like everyone else. Meanwhile, your investment accounts are growing into the millions. This is exactly how you build an unbreakable financial foundation for you and your family. So you don't need to impress random people on the internet. Your self-worth comes entirely from the effort that you put in every single day, not from the expensive things that you buy and ultimately often own you. The most successful entrepreneurs I know absolutely love the process of building. They love the daily work itself of actually creating companies. They don't care about the flashy rewards or the public applause. When you stick to the 75-15-10 plan, you completely remove the stress of trying to keep up with everyone else. You get to wake up every morning and focus entirely on serving your clients and making a real impact on the world. You let your money do the heavy lifting in total silence behind the scenes. You start building momentum because you are never stressing about making your next car payment. Now, while the money is compounding silently, you still have to navigate the real world. And the fastest way to blow your cover is by wearing the wrong clothes. Dress for comfort instead of status. One of the absolute biggest mistakes young entrepreneurs make is buying expensive clothes the moment they hit a big check. They immediately go out and buy the shiny belt, the expensive watch, the designer shoes. They desperately want the entire world to know that they finally made it. But loud luxury makes you an instant target. It screams to the world that you have endless cash to burn. The truly wealthy practice something entirely different called quiet luxury. Think about billionaire Mark Zuckerberg. He has a massive fortune, but he wears the exact same $300 gray t-shirt every single day. The shirt is incredibly high quality, but it has absolutely zero logos. To the average person walking down the street, he looks completely normal. This is the true essence of stealth wealth. You dress strictly for comfort and quality, not for public status. When you wear normal clothes, you blend in completely. Nobody looks twice at you in a grocery store. Nobody stops you to ask for a handout. You get to move through the world completely unnoticed. This gives you a massive psychological advantage over others. When you do not rely on designer brands to feel confident, you build genuine self-belief. You realize that your true value comes entirely from you, your character, your work ethic, your unique ability to help other people. Flashy money always attracts the absolute wrong kind of connections. It brings out fake friends who only want to use you for a free ride. When you keep your wealth a total secret, you force people to like you for who you actually are, not for what you can buy them. You get to build real, authentic relationships based on mutual respect and shared values. So, stop wasting your hard-earned cash on ridiculous logos. Invest that money straight back into your business or into assets that actually pay you every month. Dress simply, stay humble, and let your bank account grow in the dark. You will sleep much better at night knowing that your friends are actually your friends. Now, blending in physically will save you a lot of trouble, but eventually people close to you will figure out that you're doing well. When that happens, you need a very specific strategy to protect your cash. Set strict financial boundaries. When people eventually find out you're running a highly successful business, the requests will start pouring in from everywhere. Your cousin will pitch you a terrible business idea and ask for funding. An old high school friend will ask you for a massive loan they have absolutely no intention of paying back. If you do not have strict financial boundaries in place, these endless requests will completely drain your wealth and destroy your relationships. Part of practicing stealth wealth is learning exactly how to say no without feeling guilt inside you. You might feel like you owe people because you're doing well, but you are not a bank. If you truly want to give back, you should do it on your own terms, completely anonymously if you want. Give to charities or causes that you deeply care about, but do not become a personal ATM for everyone that you've ever met. You are built to serve, but serving others does not mean letting people take advantage of your hard work. You have to fiercely protect your energy so you can continue to run your business and make a real lasting impact on the world. A fantastic way to handle this is to blame your financial structure. If someone asks you for money, simply tell them that all of your cash is tied up in long-term investments or controlled by your business partners. Tell them you simply do not have liquid cash available to hand out. You can keep the conversation extremely short and move on immediately. Learning to say no, it changes your whole life. It removes the massive stress of trying to please everybody around you. It allows you to stay entirely focused on your main mission. Do not let the heavy pressure of other people's expectations ruin the wealth that you work so incredibly hard to build for yourself. So set your strict boundaries today and enforce them ruthlessly every single time. Your true friends will understand, and the people who get angry were only trying to use you anyway. Saying no protects your current bank account, but if you want to reach the highest levels of success, you have to completely change who you are studying. Copy the rise instead of the result. When most people look at highly successful billionaires, they only see the shiny end result, right? You see the private islands and the massive mansions and the massive super yachts. So they immediately try to copy that result. They finance a luxury car that they cannot actually afford just to look the part. But the strategy, it's actually completely backwards. If you want to build massive, unshakable wealth, you copy the rise, not the result. So you look incredibly closely at what these billionaires were doing 20 years ago when absolutely nobody knew their names. Before they were famous, they were intensely practicing stealth wealth. They lived in small, modest houses, drove completely normal cars, and poured every single dollar back into their companies or into their quiet investments. They bought assets that the general public could not easily see, like private equity, real estate trusts, tax advantage accounts. They relentlessly focused on tax diversification to protect their money from the government. They built their massive fortunes entirely in the shadows. This is exactly what you need to do right now. So stop trying to look like you already won the game. Embrace the boring daily habits that actually created real wealth. Put your head down, do the hard work, and invest your cash quietly every single month. Wake up every morning and focus your entire mind on delivering massive value to your clients. The process of building is where the real joy lives. When you finally stop worrying about how you look to the outside world, you unlock a completely new level of momentum. You get to make smart decisions based on logic instead of your ego, right? You get to build a life that is actually incredibly rich instead of a life that just looks rich on social media. So you stay invisible, you stay focused, and you keep pushing forward every single day. Your future self will thank you endlessly for keeping your massive success a secret. When you commit to doing the boring work in the dark, you set yourself up for the ultimate level of freedom. And that brings you to the most important truth of all. Your next step to true freedom. Living in secret is not about hiding who you are. It's about protecting your peace so you can focus entirely on the work that actually matters. When you stop seeking validation from strangers, you unlock the ultimate ability to create an impact on your own terms. So trust in your vision, stay completely focused, and build your massive empire in total silence. And congratulations, you're one video closer to who you're meant to be. Believe. Now let's learn everything you need to know about making money. Most of what you've been taught about getting rich is a complete lie designed to keep you trapped.
I never did it for the money.
I think that's part of the problem in our society today is people do it just for the money.
Truth be told, I've never ever been motivated by money.
Real money is made by creating something that serves others so well that they gladly hand you their cash.
The people that are the best at serving others, they are the big winners in life.
If you have a vision for how your company could make the world a better place and you use social media to allow people to touch and be evangelized by your brand, if you're thinking, how can I make a product or a service that actually makes the lives better of the people that work at the company and the people who buy the product? If that's the question that you're asking, man, they will rally around you.
You have to realize that money is a byproduct of service.
And if you don't learn how to break out of the traditional mindset right now from this video, you will spend the rest of your life building someone else's dream instead of your own.
If you want to do it for fame or money, forget it. Stop now. But if you want to do it for the love of it, keep on going.
For all of my friends who are successful, all the same age, all went to school together, all had fun,
the secret ingredient, which everybody's like, why are you guys so successful? We all love movies. We aren't doing it to get rich. We never thought we were ever going to get rich.
There was no one big at gaming, and I didn't know you could make money out of it. So it was never like a career that I just quit college to pursue. It's just something I just love to do.
Think about Walt Disney. In the past, traditional amusement parks, they were dirty, dangerous, and aimed mostly at teenagers. Walt wanted to break that traditional mold. He wanted to build a clean, magical place where you and your family could actually have fun together. Now, the traditional bankers told him that he was completely crazy. They rejected his idea for Disneyland many times, but he refused to stay trapped in their old way of thinking. He focused purely on serving families like yours and bringing them joy. Because he broke the rules and served his audience so well, he built an entertainment empire that changed the world. Now, right now, you're probably thinking that Walt Disney was some creative genius and you don't have a billion-dollar idea yet. You might think that serving people sounds great in theory, but it doesn't pay the rent this month. But that is the exact trap that keeps you broke. You do not need a massive theme park to start making money. You just need to solve one specific problem for one specific person. If you can do that, the money will naturally follow. So let me show you exactly how to find that problem and turn it into real cash right now. Stop chasing money and start building leverage. Most people are completely trapped right now because they trade their precious time for money. And if you get paid by the hour, your inputs exactly match your outputs. You work 1 hour, you get paid for 1 hour. You work 10 hours, you get paid for 10 hours. This means you can never earn non-linearly, and you will never actually get rich by just renting out your time. You only have 24 hours in a day and you have to sleep, right? For 8 of them. You cannot scale yourself physically. You have to realize that you need a career where your inputs do not match your outputs. You need to disconnect your effort from your reward by building massive leverage. Now, in the past, leverage meant hiring huge teams of people, raising millions of dollars in capital. But having employees is actually the worst form of leverage you can use when you're just starting out. It requires permission, and managing people is incredibly difficult. You spend all your time dealing with personalities instead of actually serving your customers. Today, the most powerful forms of leverage are code and media. This means writing software, recording videos, or creating a YouTube channel or podcast. Products like this have zero marginal cost of reproduction. You can multiply your efforts massively without needing anyone else's permission and without needing some rich investor to give you cash. When you build a piece of software or record a YouTube video, it acts like a tiny army of robots working for you for free. It can work for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, while you are sound asleep. This is how you actually build real wealth. Wealth is not having a big pile of cash in your checking account. Wealth is having businesses and assets that earn while you sleep. Money is just a tool you use to transfer that wealth. So if you want to make the shift, you have to stop looking for a higher hourly wage and start looking for ways to create leverage through the internet. Now, the internet connects every single human on the planet, which means you can reach potentially everyone. Find your specific audience, build something they desperately need, and serve them at a massive scale. When you focus on serving others first, the money naturally follows. But to keep that money, you have to understand the 5 exact pillars of wealth, which I'm going to break down for you right now. Master the 5 pillars of wealth building. So building massive wealth is not random and is definitely not about just getting lucky. It is built on 5 very specific pillars that you absolutely must master. The first pillar is self-investing. You have to invest in your own ideas, your mind, your skills before you can create anything of real value to the world. So this means reading books, taking courses, watching YouTube videos, spending years perfecting your craft, getting good at something. You are your own greatest asset, and if you do not invest in yourself, nobody else will. The second pillar is income generation. So having a great idea is completely useless if you do not actually execute it. You have to use your new skills to create extreme value and generate cash. A lot of people want to jump straight to passive income, but do not try to skip this step. You cannot start investing in huge assets if you do not have a strong active income engine first. You need that cash flow to fuel your bigger dreams. The third pillar is asset investing. So once your business is running, you take the cash you generated and you buy things that increase your wealth without your personal labor, your time and effort. This could be buying real estate, investing in private businesses, or putting the money into the stock market. You buy assets that put money back into your pocket every single month. The fourth pillar is asset protection. So once you finally build wealth, you instantly become a target. One lawsuit or bad deal can wipe out a decade of hard work. So you have to structure your finances carefully to keep your assets completely safe from risks. You need the right legal and financial walls around your empire. And finally, the fifth pillar is capital allocation. This is where you take your massive wealth you've built and move it around to the best opportunities to get the absolute biggest return. You don't just hoard money in your safe, you put your wealth to work to create even more value in the world, build new businesses, and increase the size of the entire pie for everyone else. Building wealth it's a group activity. And when you allocate capital correctly, you generate jobs and have massive impact. But you can only build those businesses if you know how to completely destroy your competition, which is exactly what we'll talk about next. Productize yourself to escape competition. So a huge mistake you make every day is trying to copy someone else's path to success. You look at other entrepreneurs and try to steal their exact blueprint, but you can never win long-term by being a cheap copy of another person. You can model the success, yes, but you have to specialize in being exactly who you are. When you build a business that is a true extension of your own identity, absolutely no one can compete with you. You escape competition completely through authenticity. Nobody else can be a better version of you. So how do we do that? You need to figure out what feels like play to you, but looks like incredibly hard work to everyone else. That is your specific knowledge. Specific knowledge cannot be trained, outsourced, or automated. You find it by looking back at your life and seeing what you are naturally obsessed with and the problems that you love solving. Often your biggest purpose actually comes from your deepest pain. You are uniquely qualified to help the person you used to be. The struggles that you survived become the exact tools you use to serve and help other people. Once you find that genuine obsession, you combine it with the specific skills you are good at until you are in the top 1% in the world at that unique intersection. Now, you might not be the single best speaker or the absolute best coder, but you can be the best speaking coder in your specific niche. Become the best in the world at what you do and keep redefining exactly what you do until that statement is completely true. Society will gladly pay you a massive amount of money for giving it what it wants, but does not yet know how to get it. So when you focus on your unique genius, you stop fighting for the scraps and you start creating your own massive opportunities. Once you know your specific genius, you can face the biggest decision of your entire career, and getting this wrong can cost you everything. Choose between a product or service business. Okay, let's dive into that massive decision that you have to make right now. You have to decide immediately if you are going to sell a product or a service. A product business means that you're selling a tangible physical items, while service means that you're performing a specific task for someone else. They have massive differences that will dictate your entire future, and you have to choose the right one for your exact situation. Product businesses usually require much more money upfront. You have to pay for inventory, massive storage warehouses, expensive equipment. They also have much narrower profit margins because you have to constantly pay the cost of goods sold. But physical products are much easier to scale because you do not have to directly trade your time to sell more units. The opportunity here is pretty massive, as global e-commerce sales are projected to hit over $6 trillion, growing at over 8% annually and taking over a huge share of all retail sales around the world. Service businesses, on the other hand, are the exact opposite. You can often start a service business for $0 today using just a computer you already own and the skills that are here in your head. Your profit margins are huge upfront, but scaling is incredibly hard. To grow a service business, you have to hire more people, build strict systems to deliver the exact same quality of work every single time. The key number you need to focus on, no matter what business you choose, is your effective hourly rate. If you're working 160 hours a month to make $15,000, then your rate is much lower than if you work only 80 hours to make $10,000. You only have a limited amount of waking hours each day. You must constantly find ways to raise your effective hourly rate so you stop trading your precious time for small amounts of cash and start buying your freedom back. And if you want to escape this trap, you have to systemize your entire service business. You have to document every single step you take so that someone else can do it perfectly like you. When you finally remove yourself from the daily operations, then your service business stops being a job and starts acting like a highly profitable product. But there is one specific path that looks like freedom, but is actually a massive trap that keeps you completely broke. Don't get trapped in the gig economy. So a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs try to escape their dead-end jobs by immediately joining the gig economy. They start driving for rideshare apps or doing small delivery tasks just to get by. And it feels great at first because you get flexible hours, you get to be outside, you control your own daily schedule, you feel like you're finally your own boss. But task-based gig work is a massive trap if you want to get truly wealthy. You're still trading your time directly for cash, just like your old job, and there's almost no upward mobility at all. You don't don't get health benefits, your daily income is totally unpredictable, and you are absolutely not building an asset that you can sell to someone else later. You're just renting out your car and your time to a massive tech company that keeps all of the real profits for themselves. So if you're going to freelance, you must target high demand digital skills. Think software development, expert copywriting, high level virtual assistants. These digital first gigs can actually scale with you. You start by taking on a few small clients, package your unique services into more premium offerings, and then eventually grow into a full agency or massive consultancy business. The goal is not just to be a struggling freelancer forever. The goal is to use those high value skills to learn how to sell and learn how to build. If you can build a great product and you can also know exactly how to sell it, you will be completely unstoppable in any industry that you choose. So stop playing small games and start building a real empire. And once your empire starts generating cash, you have to know exactly where to hide it to make it multiply, which is exactly the next step you need. Leverage real estate and the stock market for massive returns. When your business finally starts generating real cash, you can't just let it sit uselessly in a checking account. Inflation will completely eat your purchasing power every single year. So let me explain why this matters so much. If you just keep your cash under your mattress, it loses value every single day because things get more expensive. You have to buy assets that grow faster than inflation. This is the only way to protect your family and your future. So you take your profits from your business and you immediately pour them into assets that will take care of you forever. We can look at the data. Over a 25-year period, investing in a medium-priced home in a growing market like Phoenix can completely multiply your wealth. If you bought a house for $172,000 with a 20% down payment, that home could easily be worth over $500,000 today. The real magic of real estate is pure leverage and aggressive equity buildup. You are using the bank's money to buy the asset, and your tenant's monthly rent is paying down the entire mortgage for you. So by the end of 25 years, that initial $34,000 down payment turns into over $460,000 in pure equity. On the other hand, putting that exact same down payment amount into an S&P 500 index fund and automatically reinvesting the dividends is just as powerful. A completely passive stock market investment grows steadily without any of the massive headaches of property management, angry tenant issues, or expensive broken toilets. Historically, the broad stock market can return around 5% per year in purely real inflation-adjusted terms, turning that same initial investment into over $225,000 of liquid cash that you can access at any time. Both paths work incredibly well to beat inflation, but you have to pick the specific vehicle that matches your lifestyle, your available time, and your personal tolerance for risk. The most important thing is that you put your money to work immediately so it can start growing while you sleep. But none of this matters if you make one massive mental mistake that ruins 90% of entrepreneurs. Play long-term games with long-term people. The biggest reason you are not rich yet is simply your massive impatience. You desperately want a huge paycheck tomorrow morning, but all the biggest benefits in your entire life actually come from compound interest. This rule completely applies to making money, learning difficult skills, and building powerful relationships. You have to find an industry where you can play long-term games with long-term people. When you constantly try to get rich quick, you end up making terrible, short-sighted decisions that ruin your reputation. Real wealth stacks up just a little bit at a time, month after month, year after year. It's a whole bunch of tiny, unglamorous things piling up until suddenly you hit a massive tipping point. You have to keep doing the hard work consistently, over and over again, even when nobody is watching and nobody is clapping for you. And on a long enough scale, you will absolutely get paid, but it can easily take 10 or 20 years to see the crazy life-changing money. You need to have extreme impatience with your daily actions, but extreme patience with your final results. Work in incredibly hard sprints when you are inspired, and then rest instead of grinding 80 hours a week and completely burning out your brain. But the ultimate purpose of getting wealthy is not to buy fancy sports cars or show off to strangers on the internet, right? The real purpose of massive wealth is absolute freedom. It's the ability to wake up exactly when you want, go to sleep exactly when you want, and never have a boss to tell you what to do ever again. So keep pushing forward because your ultimate freedom is absolutely worth the wait. And speaking of the wait, I have one final message to make sure that you stay on track. Take control of your future. You have everything you need right now to start building the exact life you actually want. So stop waiting for the perfect moment and start serving people with your unique gifts today. Take that first step, stay incredibly patient, and watch how your entire world transforms. Now let's learn the 7 high return skills that winners use daily. Most of what you learned in school is completely useless for making real money.
School will teach you about money, and the answer is nothing. They know nothing about money, and they teach our kids.
The highest earners in the world ignore traditional career paths and focus on stacking a handful of high-impact skills. And if you keep following the old rules of climbing the corporate ladder, you will stay stuck struggling to pay your bills while watching other people live your dream life.
A salary is the drug they give you when they want you to forget about your dreams.
Let's look at Warren Buffett. He is one of the richest investors alive. But if you walk into his office, you will not see his university degrees on the wall. The only thing he hangs up is a certificate for a public speaking course that he took.
I actually have the diploma in the office, and I don't have my diploma from college. I don't have my diploma from graduate school, but I've got my Dale Carnegie diploma there because it changed my life.
He realized that learning the skill of communication would instantly double his value. He ignored traditional rules and focused on a skill that actually prints money.
By far the best investment you can make is in yourself. If they just learn to communicate better, both in writing and in person, they increase their value at least 50%.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's easy for Warren Buffett, but I'm just too busy trying to survive to learn something new. The actual truth is you do not need to quit your job or spend years back in a classroom. You just need to focus your limited time on the exact abilities that the market actually pays for. And so today I'm going to show you the 7 high return skills you can start learning today that will completely transform your earning power. Master artificial intelligence and prompt engineering. So you might think that artificial intelligence is going to steal your job, but the truth is a person who knows how to use artificial intelligence is going to take your job. It's projected that 75% of global businesses will use AI in their daily operations. If you ignore this trend, you'll be completely left behind. A massive report shows that artificial intelligence could add $4.4 trillion to the global economy. So you need to claim your piece of that pie. The most important high return skill right now is prompt engineering. This just means knowing exactly how to talk to artificial intelligence to get the best results. You cannot just type in a lazy question and expect magic. You have to use a specific 4-part framework. First, define the role. So tell the program to act like an expert copywriter or a brilliant lawyer. Second, provide the data. Give it examples of what you want. Third, make the specific ask. Do not be vague. And fourth, request the exact format like a bulleted list or a table. When you master this communication skill, you can do 10 hours of work in just 1 hour. You instantly become 10 times more valuable to any client or employer. Do not wait for the perfect moment to learn this. Action cures fear. Just open a free program today and start testing it. Build your momentum right now. But artificial intelligence is just a tool. To truly multiply your income, you need to know how to sell the value you just created, which leads perfectly into the second skill. Close high-ticket sales. Selling cheap products will keep you exhausted and broke. If you sell a $20 item, you need thousands of customers just to pay your rent. But if you master the skill of high-ticket sales, you only need a handful of clients to completely change your financial life. High-ticket offers are not about tricking people into paying more for the same service. They are about solving problems that are so painful, urgent, or expensive that premium pricing becomes totally obvious to the buyer. So you have to change your entire mindset around selling. Most people feel slimy when they ask for money, but you are built to serve. If you have a product or a service that can genuinely fix someone's problem, you have a moral obligation to offer it to them. If you do not offer it to them, you are hurting them. You are being selfish. Selling is just serving at the highest possible level. You also need to understand that sales is a learned skill, not a genetic gift. Companies that spend money on sales training are 57% more effective than companies that ignore it. You can learn the scripts. You can learn how to handle objections. Do not take the yes away from the customer before you even ask for the sale. So pick up the phone, make your premium offer, and let them decide. Selling one-on-one is incredibly powerful, but what if you want to reach millions of people at the exact same time? That is where the third skill comes in. Public speaking and video communication. You have to get on camera. It does not matter if you are shy or introverted. I was. Video communication is the single fastest way to build deep trust with a massive audience. When people can see your face, they can hear your voice, they connect with your story on a highly emotional level. You do not need a fancy studio or an expensive microphone. You just need your smartphone and the courage to share your truth. When I started making videos, I was completely terrified. I was an introverted guy who just wanted to hide. It took me 350 videos before I was not completely embarrassed to watch my own content back. And it took me 700 public videos until I actually started to think I was getting good. I expected to suck at the beginning, and I did. But I just kept going. I focused entirely on the one person that I could help instead of worrying about the millions of people who were not watching me yet. So if you want to stand out in your industry, start making videos about your foundation story. Tell people why you started your business. Tell them about your struggles. Tell them what to believe. Do not wait for validation from the internet. Just put in the reps and build your back catalog. The market always rewards the people who show up consistently and speak with passion. Now you know how to talk to people, but how do you combine all your different interests into one unique career? That is the absolute magic of the fourth skill. The art of skill stacking. So schools taught you that you need to pick one major and do one specific job for the rest of your life, right? That is terrible advice for making real money. Our economy does not reward specialists who only know one narrow thing. The highest earners in the world use a strategy called skill stacking. You do not need to be the absolute best in the world at one skill. You just need to be in the top 20% for 3 or 4 different skills and then combine them. So instead of just being a normal graphic designer, you become a designer who also understands user psychology and direct response copywriting. That specific combination makes you incredibly rare. Research from the World Economic Forum proves that cross-functional skills are the most heavily demanded abilities in the entire global job market. So look at your own life. Take your boring corporate experience, add a little bit of marketing knowledge, and mix in your weird weekend hobby. Suddenly, you have a totally unique profile that nobody else can compete with. You stop being a commodity and you start being a category of one. When you are the only person who can do what you do, you get to dictate your own price. But what happens when you have these rare skills and people still refuse to pay you what you're worth? You have to master the next skill to force the market to respect your value. Data-driven negotiations. Most people walk into a salary review or a client pitch completely driven by their emotions. They complain about how hard they work. They talk about how long that they've been at their company. They say that they need more money because their rent went up. That strategy will keep you broke forever. Businesses do not care about your personal financial stress. They only care about the value that you bring to their bottom line. So if you want to double your income, you have to separate your self-worth from the negotiation process. You can use hard data. An analysis of 500 different salary negotiations revealed that using emotional arguments only work 8% of the time. But when people presented a business case backed by actual market data, the success jumped to 67%. You have to do your research. Find out exactly what your specific skill stack is worth in the open market right now. Present those numbers confidently. Show the client exactly how much money your work is going to make them. When you frame your request as a smart business investment instead of a personal favor, the money will flow to you. Negotiation gets you paid the right amount, but to build massive wealth that lasts decades, you need to understand the underlying pulse of your entire industry. And that brings us to skill number 6. Data analysis and market research. You cannot build $1 million business based just off of your gut feelings alone. You have to know your actual numbers. Most people are terrified of looking at their analytics because they are afraid of seeing the ugly truth. They would rather live in denial. But if you do not know exactly where your leads are coming from or exactly where your customers are dropping off, you are just flying blind. Data science and analysis roles offer massive salaries because the ability to read data allows companies to maximize their purchasing power and predict future trends. You do not need a fancy degree to do this. You just need to log into your dashboard and face reality, right? When I'm trying to grow a YouTube channel, I do not just guess what people want to watch. I look at the exact click-through rates on every single thumbnail. I study the audience retention curves for the first 60 seconds of the video. You have to do the exact same thing for your business. Track your conversion rates. Track your email open rates. Double down immediately on the things that are working and ruthlessly cut out the things that are failing. Let the data show you a clearer path forward. Now, you can have the best data, the best sales pitch, and the best technical skills, but you will still hit a massive income ceiling if you try to do everything yourself. This final skill is the ultimate wealth multiplier. Leadership and team building. You are the biggest bottleneck in your own life right now. You are trying to control every single tiny detail of your work because you are a perfectionist. You think nobody else can do the job as well as you can. That belief is keeping you stuck playing a very small game. The fastest way to scale your income to the moon is to stop asking how you can do a task and start asking who can do this task for you. When you transition into true leadership, your job is no longer doing the daily grind. Your job is to empower other people to do the work. Self-confidence and the ability to delegate are the absolute foundations of success for any high-level executive or business owner. You must learn the framework of eliminate, automate, delegate. First, eliminate the useless tasks that you do every day that do not actually move the needle. Second, automate everything you can using software and AI. And finally, delegate the rest of the work to talented people who actually love the things that you hate doing. You have to let go of your ego, let your team make mistakes so they can learn and grow, build a culture where your people feel like the work they do actually matters. And when you focus on serving your team and lifting them up, they will build your empire with you. You now have the exact 7 skills you need to completely double your income this year. But all of these strategies are completely useless if you do not fix the one massive problem happening inside your head right now. Your true potential. The only thing truly holding you back from doubling your income is your own self-doubt. You have to decide today that your biggest goals are actually possible for you. Stop listening to the people who tell you to play it safe and stay small. Step into your greatness and do the work that you were put on this earth to do. If you want to learn how to stay consistent and motivated, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there. You do not have a problem with focus. You have a problem with believing you are worthy of success. You keep distracting yourself with meaningless tasks because secretly you are terrified of what happens if you actually launch your idea and people hate it.